Hey everyone, this is Ultra Runner. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a quick look at my top 10 favorite Transformers in my collection. I primarily collect G1, but I do have some, um, Siege and War for Cybertron figures in there. And yes, that is for the Constructicons brand in the box. They are not going to get open until the other two come in. Mixmaster is got the pre-alert from him, or for him from Big Bad. So once he gets here, I'll open them all at once. I did say, I told you guys I wasn't going to do that until they got them all in, and that's what I'm going to do. So super excited about that guy coming in. Like many of you guys, Devastator is my favorite combiner. So I'm super excited to get him here and get them all in. My Superion isn't done yet. But those two are actually will be here tomorrow, I think. So, according to the tracking, so I'll finish him up and he'll be done. The area bots are really they're cool, but they're not like my favorite. But I kind of had to have them just because of how I collect. But, and again, I'm a SS86 completionist, so I do have tons and tons of. I have all the repaints. I have multiples. You can see I have 3 of the sweeps to go with Scourge, and that is, I hope you can see the color difference. That is actual Scourge, and those are actual sweeps there. I have multiples of the Sharkticons, just because I love those. I think they just did a phenomenal job with those guys. I've got all the Junkions. I've got both versions of the Cup. Got both versions of Perceptor, and this new Perceptor is just light years better, so I have the other one in his alt mode. And I have the SS86 Jazz along with the Legacy 5-pack Jazz. I actually bought the 5-pack and sold off all the other ones because I wanted that version. Not that I needed, but was able to sell the 5-pack, all the figures individually, and really make my money back, so it wasn't too bad. I got both versions of Ratchet, both versions of Ironhide, and both versions of Brawn. So as you can see, again, I am a big SS86 fan. I am trying to complete everything and get even the repaint. So, but to no ado, let's go and start with my top 10. So my top 10 starts with Jazz. Jazz was the first Transformer I ever got. I didn't see the Transformers until the '86 movie came out. And I saw that in theaters, and the first toy I ever got from that was Jazz. And he's always had a special place in my heart because of that. And I really want multiple different versions of him. I do have the, if you guys saw when I panned earlier, I do have the Cybertron version of him too. But yeah, so he's always been really nice for me. And I do like how the recreation of it, they did a great job with it. He's very G1 looking, and that's what I was aiming for. And SS86 has been very true to that, so definitely no complaints. I'm going to go to number 9. Number 9 is the Sharkticons, and that's Gnaw. They just, like I said again, it's about getting it right, and they got these right. And that's all I'm asking for when they do these recreations. I mean, the paint, the sculpt, I think these are phenomenal. And I've picked up 4, and every time I see one on sale, I usually grab one. That's why I'm up to 4 now. I may be done with them, but we'll see how it goes. If I make more room, I might get more. We're going to pan over here. Number 8 is Galvatron. Always liked the look of Galvatron. I'm gonna have to have him right next to Megatron. And I'm just redoing my shop. I just really put him in a pose and set him up here. But with Galvatron, I think they nailed the colors. Yes, I wish it would have been a new mold and they would have did some adjustments to it. And I'm sure, knowing Hasbro, we're gonna get an updated version, or maybe I'll just have to just get a KO or a Masterpiece or a third party or something like that to get a more accurate version. But for me, that he's not like my super favorite character, but he is definitely one of my favorites, and I've got to just go and say, yeah, this is the guy. So coming in at number 8 is Galvatron. All right, panning over here. Coming in at number 7 is a guy I just physically got in recently, and that is DevCon. DevCon is super cool. Really loved the episode where he met Smokescreen on it, the Gambler. And I know he's a retool of Blur, but it was a faithful retool of Blur. And I think they really nailed him as best they could in using that mold, because making a brand new mold for such an obscure character is not financially sound. But I can tell you, I never thought they would have gone this obscure, saying this guy was in one episode of G1. So super, super impressed with that. So, but yeah, that's my number 7 figure is DEFCON. And he is standing right next to number 6, which is Smokescreen, which is my favorite of the Dotson brothers, or like, most people call them the Autobot Seekers. And as you can see, I do like my Dotsons. We got Silver Streak there, Blue Streak right there. Even have that, the zombie, Decepticon back there, and just acting like he's an Autobot essentially. But when I saw this Smokescreen for the first time, I was like, this is definitely one I have to pick up. Love his colors. As you guys hadn't realized, I'm a big red, white, and blue fan. Blue is my favorite color. And they've done a good job of making this really, really accurate. And, fit finish, I come back to him so many times as far as like, this is definitely something, a piece of my collection I really, really enjoy having. So number 6, that is Smokescreen. All right, panning it back over. And coming in at number 5 is SS86 Ultra Magnus, which most people know is just basically like a mini version of the Masterpiece. They crushed this. Absolutely. Yes, I do have other versions of him. But Ultra Magnus was, for me, what made him super special is he was my first, big Transformer, because, my cousin had Optimus Prime and I got Ultra Magnus. Because remember, I started watching after the movie and Ultra Magnus was essentially sold alive, Prime wasn't. And so he was the one that was being sold. And I got him and I loved him. And I couldn't wait I almost bought the Siege versions. And I just didn't like the vehicle look, even though I really don't keep a lot of mine in alt mode. But I was going to have one in alt mode. I was going to buy 2. And so when they dropped this one here, it was an immediate pre-order. And they've done a phenomenal job with him. Absolutely great piece. I'm glad he's back, available for everybody to buy, because he got pretty insane for a bit. So I'm glad that he's actually back at a reasonable price. So again, coming in at number 5 is Ultra Magnus. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. And coming in at number 4 are the Dinobots. And the only reason they're not higher is because of him. If they would have just gold-plated the rest of his stuff to match him, so I'm probably going to end up picking up some Masterpiece versions of him. But between Swoop, Grimlock, Slag, not Slug, Sludge, and Snarl, this is my favorite team of all time in any media. Love these guys. They were just such a, when Prom told him to hop out and go take care of Devastator, that was just like, you send your A-team in, and that's just what they were. Granted, they kind of got clowned in the movie, but in the show, they were definitely so much better. And I think this is a faithful recreation of these guys, especially for mainline. Yes, they could have croned them out and done this, and this. And, and by the way, Swoop is my favorite. I do have him on a flight stand because he had to be up in the air. And that's actually a flight stand from one of my Play Arts Kai figures. That's why he's so high up. But yeah, these guys, like I said, faithful recreations. They did a great job with them, like I said, except for Snarl and this yellow, just, but anywho. Yeah, so coming in number 4, that is the Dinobots. All right, and coming in number 3, I'm going to cheat a little bit on here too, is going to be the official Takara Masterpiece Ultra Magnus and the official Takara Masterpiece Delta Magnus. Um, Ultra Magnus is my second favorite character of all time. Number one is Boba Fett. In any media, number two is Ultra Magnus. So, I'll ask you guys, I get a little sneak peek of the area I'm kind of working on, getting them all done. But, this is, of course, was Delta Magnus is what they end up calling him. But this was, his storyline and masterpiece was that he was a descendant of Ultra Magnus and took off after he passed away. And then originally this was the Diaclone colors versions of him, which is, which got changed. And I guess it was like a couple little things he was in this color before. I guess the original movie advertisement he was in these colors before they switched him to these colors here, which is what we know him as the red, white, and blue. Again, this was also the Diaclone version. And, again, and then when they did the Shattered Glass, it's also kind of like the Shattered Glass colors as well, and it's with a different head. But, for me, these were done so well by Takara. And then, of course, the third parties have trumped these guys. I mean, I'm not going to lie. But as far as vehicle mode, I think these are the best vehicle modes still compared to, some of the other ones out there that have significantly better robot modes. But again, Magnus was my first commander. He was my leader at Autobots, and I didn't have Prime, and I would go to my cousin's house to play with his Prime, and I'd bring my Magnus. He'd just be like jaw dropped over how huge Magnus was. And I guess I'll go and put this out there. I am not a white Prime Ultra Magnus. I do have them in the blockies, and of course there's my Shattered Glass, my standard Super 7 reaction. And this is was that Robot Heroes? 2006 Robot Heroes. But I am not a white Magnus person. So that was not Ultra Magnus. Even though he came with a separate robot, he was supposed to go into the suit. I mean, so I'm not one of those guys, And I know there was a story arc where they were twin brothers, and eventually, he got the armor. But for me, I love the way Masterpiece did it. It was not a white Prime. It was a white Cap. So, but for me, I got those two together just because they're really the same vehicle, and I love them both equally. I did pick up the Ultra Magnus first, and Delta Magnus just came in. I was able to buy them, get him pretty cheap because honestly, there's not a lot of desire for Delta because he's not from anything really, and that's what most people say. But I don't care. I mean, I like the fact that toys can be conceptualized and concept art, And if you looked at my other video with my Hot Toys, you can see I'm a big fan of concept art. So, but yeah, so that comes in at number 3. And coming in at number 2 is the Cell Studio, or 01 Studio Cell. This is their take on Unicron. And there's multiple versions of this guy that they've made. This is my favorite version, which is the movie version. And yes, let's just get the elephant out of the room. He does look better than a HasLab. No, I was not in the game recollecting. I've been collecting, most of my life, but I really started to seriously start collecting until this year. I guess probably for Transformers might have been last year, actually. It was 2023. So the end of 2023. And so I couldn't get the HasLab. And after seeing HasLab and what the price was going for, it just wasn't an option. So I forgot whose video it was. It might have been Tadarium Hanger or one of those guys. And I saw this and got him in the house and just love him, man. He is so good looking. There's no kibble on this guy. His Earth mode or his Earth parts are completely hidden. He's standing on his own 2 feet. There is no base. Got Hot Rod in front of him that you have to use when to stand up. Yes, he's not nearly as huge as the HasLab because he wouldn't fit in this room in this area if it was the HasLab. But I mean, you can't get one to scale, and that's just what it is. But for me, I just wanted something else tall, and he's by himself, so he's not going to be near anything else that's tall. And I think this is a decent representation of him. They'd have to be microscopic at some point. But again, the faithful recreation of him, the light up eyes, The texture, the quality of the plastic, the fit and finish, they really went super hard on this. And, this is why a lot of people are going to third parties. And I know I made a video about this before, and it's also why, and third parties are just kind of outdoing officials. And this is a perfect example. Every Unicron we've had before the HasLab was really, mediocre is not even like a good way to say it. It was horrible. And then the HasLab came out and really took it to another level, but it was the one for Cybertron, and it wasn't supposed to be this Unicron. Let's just be honest. So we can't really fault them for that. Whereas this is a movie version, and this is not a third party that ripped off a mold KO. This is their own creation, and they did a great job with it, and I'm super, super happy with this. This is my number 2 Transformer in my collection. And my number 1 figure in my collection, Transformer in my collection, is the Fans Toys, or actually in this case, they're called Fantastic Model. The Fantastic Model, Marge, aka Ultra Magnus. And that is a decal I did apply to, and didn't come with that on it. You guys know Ultra Magnus is my number 1 Transformer, and he's my number 2 character from any media, behind Boba Fett. And this, I did wait because I got the Masterpiece in, which, I showed you guys earlier. And I was like, let me just see if I'll get this guy, if he's worth it. And I saw some comparison reviews, and I do like this a little better. He is more slender. Those painted eyes, they did a good job with those too. He does have the, chest open for the Matrix and all that good stuff. But just the proportions, the cleanness of him compared to the Masterpiece. And like I made a video talking about this before, I was really skeptical about getting him, only because I didn't own the Masterpiece. And I feel like you really should have the IP, the people who actually pay for the license. And so I did pick up the officials. Of course, I got both of those guys. And I like their truck modes way better. So this is actually my one that sits on my desk in robot mode. I do have like customs making me a cell shaded version of him, like he did with the Masterpiece version, but I wanted this one done better because I like it better. But again, super, super clean, great faithful reproduction of Ultra Magnus. And like I say, and I really wanted and I looked at the X-Transbot version, and that one is a little older, and it does a couple things different, but the paint on this thing, I don't know if it's really coming through, but like X-Transbots, Fans Toys they just go super, super hard. It's my first one I've ever owned, and I am highly, highly impressed with it. Even the Rock is in this, that kind of vac metal paint. They just went super hard, and I love this guy. And this is from my second favorite character of all time, my favorite Transformer. This is definitely a faithful recreation of him. So, well, there you guys go. That's been my top 10 of my favorite Transformers in my collection. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you later.